Good day and welcome to the AAU TV Mid-Week news, and we are coming to you from the headquarters of the Association of African Universities in Accra, Ghana. My name is Lydia Nyame. With me in the studio are
Jemima, Deladem, Dotsey.
And my name is Agyemang, Okyere, Darko.
And now the news bulletin on higher education. AAU Partners ELearnAfricaLMS to enhance African higher education. And again, African leaders are to provide sustainable funding for higher education.
And in our health news, focus on emotions is key to improving heart health in people living with obesity. And also 5 minutes breathing workout lowers blood pressure according to a study.
In our science and technology news episode, KNUST graduates invent device to avert robbery. We glad you made time to watch the AAU TV Mid-Week news. Don't go anywhere but you're born. Health, higher education, and tech news.
Welcome to GTP Health and Safety Corner. If you feel like stepping out, remember social distancing. You might just save a life. Rock at home, stay safe. Wash your hands with soap and running water. Spaced out but still in touch. Check in on your loved ones and stay safe. GTP, timeless.
You're welcome back from the break, and the Association of African Universities has launched an initiative with a private partner to provide universities, academics and students on the continent with access to a low-data online learning management system that could provide support amid the ongoing migration due to COVID-19 to a blended and online learning environment. The Association of African Universities, in collaboration with eLearn Africa, has launched a learning management system specifically designed to serve universities on the continent by making remote learning tools available to academics and students. The platform, AAU ELearnAfricaLMS, was launched on July 7th during AAU's 15th Quadrennial General Conference themed The Future of African Higher Education. This comes at a time when higher education leaders and academics have highlighted significant challenges related to online learning in the face of COVID-19. During the conference, presenters highlighted poor digital infrastructure, a lack of affordable internet access and data and devices, as well as the capacity of both students and faculty to optimally function in the online environment. Also, higher education leaders have called on government to display political will to address some of these concerns. Ms. Nodumo Lamini, the Director of Information Communications Technology Services and Knowledge Management at the AAU, said the new platform will give African universities more options. According to her, the AAU hopes the partnership will give non-traditional students flexible learning opportunities and give disadvantaged communities access to higher education. She explained that the new partnership will allow universities to expand their course offerings and even grow class size without the physical presence of students. Coming from I want to find out from my colleagues, first of all, what were the challenges universities were facing concerning e-learning?
You know, I would say the initiative taken by the AAU and the ELearnAfricaLMS is a laudable effort in a way to solve all online issues that students go through, because we all know that due to COVID-19, our classes have moved to online. So I'll touch on two challenges that the online classes bring to us. First of all, I'll talk of high data cost. You know that, we all know that the cost of data in Africa is very high as compared to other nations, other parts of the continent. So it makes it difficult for some people to be able to enjoy their classes at the normal pace or at their pace that they are convenient with. And due to that, it can cause a lot of things to the students or not to understand whatever discussion that their lecturer is having online. And I also talk about some of the platforms that we use. You know, some platforms that helps in this online learning can take a lot of people. Some register these platforms with less numbers. But you know, in our classroom, sometimes we have over 100 people in a lecture classroom. So it makes it difficult for everyone to have access to the platform to be able to learn or listen to whatever the lecturer is talking about.
Okay, that's great. Jemima has given us data and issues with online learning platforms. Agyemang, what do you have?
Yeah, I think, notwithstanding Jemima's point, we can break it down to some micro and macro challenges. Micro was the fact that data caused students not having devices to keep up with these e-learning platforms. The fact that institutions don't have the right human resources to perhaps man these e-learning platforms. Some lecturers don't even know how to even run these platforms. And even the lack of research and development to find out new pedagogical skills to know how to even teach with e-learning platforms, the difficulty. And the macro was the fact that these systems come in quite complex. A very, very complicated e-learning platform, and then everybody can't use it effectively. I think these are many more the challenges that we're facing in the e-learning space in African universities. And perhaps some universities want to get their own devices or their own systems, which perhaps were not able to help them become more efficient. Now, perhaps it's good news. I really want to support that. I'll wait some time and then see how the the good news perhaps change the whole face of e-learning in Africa.
Well, as Agyemang has said, we've got good news for you coming from eLearn Africa, but we'll take a quick break, and after the break, we'll have a resource person join us on the set.
Welcome to GTP Health and Safety Corner. If you feel like stepping out, remember social distancing. You might just save a life. Rock at home, stay at home, stay safe. Wash your hands with soap under running water. Spaced out but still in touch. Check in on your loved ones and stay safe. GTP Times.
Welcome back from the break, and we have been joined by our resource person, and my guest is the Director ICT Services and Knowledge Management at the Association of African Universities, and she's in the person of Ms. Nodumo Hlamini. Ms. Nodumo, thank you very much for joining us on the set.
Thank you.
We are very grateful and glad to have you.
Thank you.
Well, we're talking about a partnership between AAU and eLearn Africa, but we would want you to give us exact specifics about what this partnership is and what African universities stand to gain from it.
Sure.
Okay, thank you very much. We partnered with eLearn Africa after the COVID-19 pandemic, lessons that we learned, and the purpose of the partnership is to support African universities to quickly migrate to e-learning. And what we realized is that universities in Africa had no experience implementing e-learning. And e-learning implementation is quite a complex process that requires time, that requires support from the different stakeholders within a university and also within a country. So because of that lack of experience, lack of technical expertise, we thought that it would be good to take the load off the universities in terms of designing a simple platform. We took that load off them by partnering with eLearn Africa, and we also are saying to them they don't have to worry about the technical support issues, the hosting issues, the capacity issues around a platform in case some universities have 20,000 students, others have 1,000 students. The issues of scalability will now not be their problem. All they need to focus on is making sure their content is ready for putting up on the site, but they forget reviewing of platforms and supporting a technical platform.
Great. I actually wanted to find out, where is the repository? They need a server to control everything. Where is everything being controlled?
Okay, this is now going to be on the cloud. So universities don't have to host their own e-learning server, something which increases the cost for universities and also requires them to recruit people to be able to sustain that kind of infrastructure.
Okay. Okay, well, Ms. Nodumo, beyond the few benefits you've mentioned that African universities stand to gain from this partnership, I would want you to still throw more light on the benefits universities and students stand to gain from this partnership?
Yeah, universities have a ready platform that they can jump in and use immediately.
Okay.
It's a simple platform, easy to use, and it's free for universities to use.
Okay.
However, the students will benefit from a platform that's accessible, that's not too heavy, because in Africa we have infrastructure challenges. So this platform has been carefully designed
Okay.
for the continent.
Okay.
However, students who wish to take classes on that platform would have to pay $10 annually
Oh, okay.
to be able to use the platform. But the universities adopt the platform for free, and they put the content for their students to be able to access.
Okay.
And then maybe another benefit is that there are quite a lot of platforms out there. So universities have been struggling to know which one is the best. And this problem has been taken out of them, out of their way, because the construction of this platform has taken care of all the concerns that an African university has
Okay.
been struggling with.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
And I think you just mentioned that there are a lot of platforms out there. But why ELearnAfrica?
ELearnAfrica, because we have been working with them for close to 6 years
Okay.
in this area of promoting e-learning in Africa. So it's not a new partnership. And we have also done surveys of African universities and their needs even before the COVID-19 pandemic. So we have a joint understanding of what the best entry point is for African universities. So the ELearnAfrica platform is actually a customized version of a free open source software platform. So it's a platform that has been taken and improved to meet the needs of African universities.
Great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Ms. Nodumo, thank you very much for the clarity, and we are very glad to have you on the set. And
Thank you.
Now, still delving into more news items on higher education, Ghanaian President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo has urged universities in Africa to change and move forward with the times instead of being left behind by their counterparts in other parts of the world in terms of quality teaching, curricular reforms, innovation, research output, and increase in the digital footprint. President Akufo-Addo made this call in a speech read on his behalf by his Education Minister, Dr. Osei Educhum, during the official opening of the Association of African Universities 15th Quadrennial General Conference of African University Leaders. The president said African universities and other tertiary education systems on the continent have remained unchanged since they were established and left by the colonial regents. He added that there is an urgent need for the review of academic content, while vice-chancellors and other academics should provide visionary leadership. The Ghanaian president emphasized that African universities have a responsibility to develop strategies that would help Africa to deal with future epidemics and other problems facing the continent instead of waiting for solutions from elsewhere. He further highlighted how higher education, especially in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, has continued to save the world from other challenges. Towards improving the learning curve, the president highlighted how African universities adapted to remote learning, although few had adequate internet connectivity or distance learning platforms. He said, if African Union's Agenda 2063, the Africa we want, is to have some meaning, African universities should be properly financed so that they can take a leading role in transforming the continent. Well, there we have it. African leaders urged to provide sustainable funding for higher education. But I've got some statements made by Professor Sarah Agyemang, and she is the African Union's Commissioner for Human Resources, Science and Technology. And she says, Africa is increasingly becoming a cemetery for seminars and conferences. where no decisive actions are being taken, especially on issues related to higher education. But I want to find out from my colleagues what you make of this statement, Agyemang.
Yeah, Lydia, let me just say that I can't agree with Prof. Sarah Agyemang about any less, because that is exactly what the tragedy of Africa has been. I mean, every conference, we've had it before in our continent. We had seminars upon seminars upon seminars. Lots of them. In fact, nowadays, I think Excellency Powagami said he's not going to attend any conference again. And why is he saying that? Because he's been to several conferences. There have been several resolutions, but we lack one thing that begins with the capital I: implementation. That is the issue with Africa. We lack that kind of joint togetherness to walk the talk. We talk, but we don't walk it, and that's our problem. So I agree with Prof. Sarah that the symmetry of conferences on entrepreneurship, conference on agriculture, conference on finance. We've done a whole lot, but we lack that decisive action. Look at what happened with AFTA. You know, the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement actually had 45 countries in Africa ratifying it initially at the initial introduction. Leaving out of 55 countries, we have just a few to join in. As at now, we ask what's the headway, and we don't know what the headway is. We're just walking around after with events and conferences, trying to draw attention. AFTA has to be in action by now. The free movement protocol, that's the key item that should really move after. It's not been implemented. So where lies AFTA? The strength of AFTA is in the free movement protocol, which we don't see a headway with, because African countries and their leaders are not agreeing to this treaty. We had lots of treaties, Abuja Treaty, AFTA, lots of conventions, but here we are. We've not been able to make any headway on all these things. So I think it's a very sad, strong one she made right there. And for someone in a position, shouldn't be saying this, but it has to come out from her mouth because she's in the African Union. And that is the highest decision-making body on the continent, where African leaders come together to agree for their countries. And still, headway has been made. For higher education particularly. Nothing is happening. It's unfortunate.
Well, I think it's quite sad. I have some statements here made by the President of Ghana, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, and I so much love it. I think it carries a lot of weight. He says, if the African Union's Agenda 2063, which is the Africa we want, is to have some sort of meaning, then African universities should properly be financed so that they can take a leading role in transforming the continent. This statement was made by him. But I want to first of all find out, how do we generate a sustainable means of funding for higher education in Africa?
I think it is important to understand that there are no, I think it is important to understand that for an institution to run effectively and efficiently, it needs funds. Especially in higher education institutions, we need funds to be able to provide resources for students to use in the school. So first of all, I'll talk about the commercialization of research, the commercialization of products from research. You know, sometimes, or let me say, institutions in Africa come out with development in technology, regarding technology. And what do we do with it? We do nothing with it. It's those technologies, if funded or if helped with, would be able to solve a lot of problems in the society. And if such technology innovations are, you know, produced in large quantities and being sold out, it is also going to generate fund for the institution. I'll give an instance where research leading to the production of COVID-19 vaccine at Efe Babaloli University in Nigeria. Right now it is yielding huge revenues for the university or the institution as a whole. And secondly, I'll talk about when an institution is performing well in academics, it helps the institution to get a better rank when it comes to ranking the universities. And getting a better rank doesn't come with a name alone. It actually comes with a name that will urge students in that country or outside that country to actually pursue courses in that university. And by so doing, it also generates a lot of income for that university.
No, Agyemang, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I will share my experience on the just ended 15th AAU General Conference, where I found myself in the parallel session which was themed the future of African higher education post-COVID.
Okay.
Now, the point was that let's see what lies ahead for African higher education institutions after COVID-19. And people were talking about e-learning, intensifying e-learning, training and capacity building, R&D. And I brought a point that all of these things you are mentioning are just byproducts of something that we have to do.
Yeah.
Funding. If you don't create that sustainable base of funding, how can you be assured of proper R&D? How can you be assured of capacity building, infrastructure development? All these will be as a result of having the right funding in place. So let's think about how we can generate sustainable funding for our institution. And I'm glad Jemima mentioned the fact that commercialization of your research is a very sustainable way of raising funds for your institution.
Yeah.
Now, you need funds to do better research and get results to make the money. So, whilst you have these ideas, are you sure you have a very good place you are raising the funds for a very long period of time? You are over-relying, or let's say African institutions are over-relying on foreign donors, which is short-lived. Because we're hearing that from the World Bank, perhaps, that it would not be happening again that we'll have foreign donors or foreign donations coming in to support African higher education institutions. It means that a time will come we would have to now do our own fishing for ourselves and support our education. Who should someone show you what matters to you in your space? People overseas are telling Africa that invest in education as if we don't understand, or we don't understand that education is the way forward for us. We call our institutions agents of transformation. Universities are the agents that transform people to society with their solutions and ideas. You are not investing in these agency of transformation. How then are you sure that you're bringing up people who will be proper agents solving issues in society? So I think we missed a priority. We spend so much money on so many things that are irrelevant. We should go back to the basics that education is our future.
That's true.
Invest in it.
That's true. Well, you know, Agyemang, having generated a sustainable funding for African universities, which academic disciplines should these fundings be channeled to? Because I think that's also a priority that we need to look at.
Yeah, I think I will now tap from the quality assurance directories all over the African universities in Africa when they say that we'll find ourselves in the fourth industrial revolution. Now, this term should be understood that the fourth industrial revolution stands for the whole new experience we're having now. That at time we are in the time where digitization is the way to go. Online activities are the way to go. Efficiency and effectiveness will be influenced by doing many of your work online. So what do you do now? How do you position yourself for the fourth industrial revolution? It means that you have to channel so much of your funds and investments into research and development, into science, technology, engineering, mathematics. Why am I saying this? Not long ago, the Minister for Higher Education in Gambia, His Excellency Aliyu Juf Badara, came to Ghana, and they said that they've seen a direction in Gambia. They want to now create a university of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics to help the youth grow in that alignment so they can also contribute to the fourth industrial revolution. And he said that they chose KNUST, Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, to be the model university or institution for that institution over there. So they will do recruitment and also course development. Why? From 2021, if Gambia has seen this direction and they are investing into it, it means that for a long time to come, Gambia will change. The people of Gambia will not be thinking like how other people are thinking, because they are thinking science, technology, and engineering as the world thinks. That is the direction we should all be moving.
I think so too.
And it's encouraging that we all align resources to science, technology, engineering, mathematics, into all fields. How do we integrate this discipline into everything? Because it's the need, it's a demand of the time we're in. So we must realign our programs.
Okay, well, I have this final statement made by the Egyptian Minister of Higher Education, and he's in the person of Abdel Ghaffar. Yeah, he says the African countries have enough resources to allocate more than 1% GDP to scientific research. But you know, currently, African countries spend less than 1% GDP to research. What could possibly be the cost?
Well, perhaps I think it's unfortunate that we don't even appreciate the findings that we bring out African professors, PhDs, researchers in the continent don't produce so much of research. And even when it's produced, it is not commercialized. It is not taken to the next level. So your research will just lie in your shelf.
Yeah.
And this is quite demoralizing. And the 1%, I mean, according to Abdul Ghaffar, it can be better.
Yeah.
If we understand the direction we're going and the Africa we want, as President Akufo-Addo mentioned, that if we want to make meaning out of the Africa we want, the Agenda 2063, then we must understand that research and development plays a very key role. You do more research, you develop. You don't do research, you don't develop.
That's true.
You can't be the Africa you want. I think that makes the point.
Okay.
But I think I would add something. You know, past research efforts have only proven that when a research comes out, as Agyemang said, it only ends up on our shelf in our paperwork. So hardly do you see an invention, or let me say something being done in an African university that is being used or produced in a large scale. For instance, a tractor was developed by KNUST, and which was used in constructing a road, But hence, you know, government didn't see the need to push this type of agenda for it, because I think if it was pushed, it will actually help in our construction of roads and railways and all that. So you see, such inventions or such innovations are not being pushed by, you know, our authority or people in charge to push them. I think that is also a problem.
Well, it really, really is a problem indeed. Now, health news is up next.
So in our health news, people living with obesity who attended a non-judgmental and personalized lifestyle modification program improved their cardiovascular mental health during a just 10 weeks experiment, according to a new study. People living with obesity who attended a non-judgmental and personalized lifestyle modification program improved their cardiovascular and mental health during a 10-week scientific congress of the European Society of Cardiology. One participant lost weight and achieved benefits in anxiety and depression and physical measurement during blood pressure. Obesity develops for multiple reasons, and blaming someone for their weight can make them stop getting health care and advice. It can also lead to emotional eating and feeling too self-conscious to exercise. By identifying each person's triggers, we can develop alternative coping strategies, all within the context of their job, caring responsibilities, external stresses, and so on. For some people, coming to a group like this may be the only social contact that they have had in weeks or they have had in years. Both overweight and obesity are associated with an increased risk of dying from cardiovascular diseases. Weight loss is recommended to reduce blood pressure, blood lipids, and risk of developing type 2 diabetes, and thus lower the likelihood of heart diseases. This study analyzed the impact of a community-based lifestyle modification program on the physical and mental health of people living with obesity, referred from a specialist bariatric service at Galway University Hospital. So that is it about how your emotions helps in improving your heart health with people living with obesity. But I want to find out, how does the mind or one's mind play a role in living with obesity?
Agyemang will take it.
Well, I think that, you know, everything works with how you perceive things of yourself. You know, many people, after perhaps taking some diets and poor lifestyle behavior or lifestyle trajects, perhaps end up obese.
Exactly.
And you know, obesity, realize that intake of more fatty, more protein, perhaps you have the gastric one in there within you, trying to help facilitate so much of this is happening to you to end up being bloated and being obese. But after you are in that condition, the study says that your mind plays a very important role in keeping you to accept yourself and work to change things about you than rather lamenting, or let's say going overly worried about the way you look. Perhaps that can even kill you.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so it's all about how you can keep your heart in good state. Are you going to be worried about the way I look, or you're going to be thinking about how I can get things done? So the way your mindset in that condition plays a very important role in how you carry yourself and how you keep yourself alive.
No. Okay. But then I would want to know, how do you treat people with obesity? Lydia?
You know, for me, I believe in equality, so I don't even think this is something that we should be talking about. But we live in a society where if you're obese, there's so much stigmatization that comes with it. I think they should be treated with respect, with love, because sometimes the causes of obesity goes beyond, or let me say, it's beyond the control of the victim. Most times we think it just happens due to overeating or taking in a lot of food regularly, but there are certain factors that get people obese that is just beyond their control. Some are genetics, others are the medications that people take in, others are psychological causes. So ask yourself, if you are in the shoes of an obese person and this is what got you obese, would you be happy? It isn't always overeating. So I think the stigmatization really has to stop. People with obesity must be treated equally with love, with respect. And yeah, that I think so.
Let me have this friend of mine who is obese, and he says that when he gets angry, he eats a lot. He eats junk food a lot, so and he gets angry very easily. I was like, you cannot change because you're always getting angry and you're always eating. So what can we do for you? But I think it's important that we treat people who are obese with that kind of respect. I mean, we have to make them feel good about themselves. Sometimes we look down upon them. We call them names, cheese ball. Like, I mean, on the line side, you don't have to do that. You don't call people in that state. You have to support them. You know, in the video, we realize that, I mean, they are embraced, they are helped, they train with them, they work with them. If you have somebody out there who is obese, go on and work with them, talk to them, take their mind off the way they look. I mean, let them feel that they are part of you. Eventually, they'll be okay.
No, but personally, I think if you're obese, the first step you should take is to accept yourself. If you don't accept yourself, you don't expect society to accept you. You know, people who have confidence walk in a different way, and people who have like low self-esteem also walk in a different way. So me, I think if you are obese, no matter how you look, accept yourself and society will accept you.
So accept yourself and society would also accept you. Moving on. A new study shows that a breathing exercise known as inspiratory muscle strength training can reduce blood pressure in weeks, with benefits on par with daily exercise or medication. Working out just 5 minutes daily via a practice described as strength training for your breathing muscles lowers blood pressure and improve some measures of vascular health, as well as or even more aerobic exercise or medication. The study provides the strongest evidence yet that the ultra-time efficient maneuver known as high-resistance inspiratory muscle strength training could help a key role in helping aged adults fend off cardiovascular disease, a nation's leading killer. For the new study, they recruited 36 otherwise healthy adults ages 50 to 79 with above normal systolic blood pressure. Half did high-resistance inspiratory muscle strength training for 6 weeks, whilst the other half did a placebo protocol in which the resistance was much lower. After 6 weeks, the inspirational muscle strength training group saw a systolic blood pressure dip 9 points on the average. The treatment group also saw a 45% improvement in vascular endothelial function, or the ability for arteries to expand upon stimulation, and a significant increase in levels of nitric oxide, a molecule key for dilating arteries and preventing plaque buildup. So that is it about how your breathing workouts lowers one's blood pressure. But I want to find out, what are some of the benefits in taking regular breathing exercise? What are some of the benefits we gain?
Well, I would first of all say that certain studies and articles have grouped breathing exercises, the benefits that comes with it, into two aspects. There's the physical and the emotional or psychological one. For the physical benefits that comes with regular taking regularly taking in breathing exercises.
Okay.
One is it reduces the stress levels in individuals, which I think people can attest to it. When you are too stressed and you take in breathing exercises, sometimes it really calms your nerves, and then it makes you relax, and then it also lowers blood pressure. It also improves diabetic system and reduces depression. And when it comes to the psychological part, these days psychologists utilize the power of breathing exercises when they are in sessions with their patients. It helps them a lot.
Yes.
First of all, it even helps with anger management, because there are some people, when they get angry, what they do is they take in a lot of breathing exercises.
Exactly.
It sort of brings you this consciousness. It relaxes you. So I think these are the benefits of taking in regular breathing exercise.
Okay, Agyemang.
I think taking in breath perhaps is an indispensable aspect of our living. If everybody will live and live well, you need to breathe. You can eat, you can drink water, but if you don't relax your nerves or yourself with air, how can you perhaps move on? Just like a 100-meter run.
Exactly.
And not even taking a breath.
Yeah.
How possible is that? Closing your nose, just shutting it down like this and then moving. How can you survive?
Yeah.
So you need to breathe in. So I think, first of all, breathing in gives your lungs and your diaphragm that kind of refresh.
Yeah.
Now they open wide and they close as you take a breath. And your bloodstream, the energy we need to our heart, we need the air to also part. It's an integral part of we getting pumping blood to our heart. It's air. That's why at the end of the day, taking these 5 minutes breathing exercise with this device called IMST is able to reduce your blood pressure.
Yeah, sure.
Because the pressure comes as a result of when there's not proper breathing or air available. But when there's air, it relaxes the process and gives you that kind of calmness and serenity in your body. It's very important that we do that.
So it's very important. Don't go anywhere as we bring you science and technology news after this short break.
Welcome to GTP Health and Safety Corner. If you feel like stepping out, remember social distancing. You might just save a life. Rock at home, stay at home, stay safe. Wash your hands with soap and running water. Spaced out but still in touch. Check in on your loved ones and stay safe. GTP, timeless. Welcome.
You're welcome to the Science and Technology segment. And Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology graduates have invented an extraordinary device called Smart Panic Button to avert daylight robbery in the country. According to them, the invention will increase the response time of security personnel to keep problems and make available evidence for crime scenes to avert the situation.
Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology graduates have invented an extraordinary device called Smart Panic Button to avert daylight robbery in the country. According to them, the invention will increase the response time of the security personnel to keep problems and make available evidence for crime scenes to avert the situation. Also, the device will reduce the crime rate and make it difficult for robbers, especially daylight robbery.
You'll agree with me of the appalling rates of crime in Africa, basically in Ghana, the armed robbery rates and all that. But this is a very amazing innovation, perhaps, by the graduates of KNUST. But I want to ask, how do we encourage the youth of Africa to be more engaged in using technology to solve real-time social problems like how the graduates from KNUST have done?
Okay, I think this invention actually came at the right time, because recently we've been hearing of a lot of cases with armed robbery or regarding armed robbery. And I believe with this invention, the notion that some African youth have that, Africa, we can't do it, will be a thing of the past. They would know that Africa can also bring up inventions or innovations to help solve a problem in the society, as you said. So I think it's going to help others to also bring out inventions.
Okay.
I want to start off by congratulating these graduates for coming up with an innovation like this, because these are the graduates we hope for. These are, we all hope for graduates who are not just paper graduates, but graduates who are problem solvers. So that's a great one there. But personally, I believe technology is an agent of change. It has the power to give us a feel of the Africa we envision. And for me, I think the youth are the people who are going to utilize technology to get us to that level. But to be able to do that, we must first of all identify the problem. What are the problems the continent is facing? Because I believe these here in UST graduates were able to identify that there are a lot of theft cases going on in Ghana. Something had to be done about it. So they came up with a technology that directly solves the problem. Yeah. So to be able to get us to that level, we first of all identify the problem, and then we devote a lot of research into finding a solution in the field of technology to tackle the issue.
Great, great.
Well, that is all for the news this morning, and in wrapping up, let's take a quick recap of our headlines. On higher education, AAU Partners ELearnAfricaLMS to enhance African higher education. And again, African leaders urge to provide sustainable funding for higher education.
And in our health news, focus on emotion is key to improving heart health in people living with obesity. And also 5 minutes breathing workout lowers blood pressure as much as exercise.
And in science and technology, KNU is graduating invent device to avert robbery.
Now thank you very much for staying with the AAU TV News as we keep you informed. My name is Lydia Nyame.
And I am Jemima Deladem Dotsey.
And my name is Agyemang Okyere Darko. We're glad you had time to watch the AAU TV Mid-Week News. Please do well, stay safe, have a nice day, and bye.